Hello. It's been a couple days and there's just been some craziness going around. The kids got me sick because that's what kids do. Um, so I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Had some body aches and pains and some fevers and lasted a couple more days than I thought it was going to. And that's okay because that's just the way things happen and it's just what life is like. Sometimes you get sick. I get sick a little bit more than normal. Um, I don't know when it started exactly, but for a while I've had a pretty weakened immune system. I get sick usually either twice when the kids do, um, or I get sick longer. And this time I just happened to get sick longer. All three kids got sick, one, two, three, right after the other. I did not. I did not. So I got to get sick one giant long time that theirs lasted just a couple days. I think total for all three of them, but mine did not. Mine lasted almost a week. No, a little more than a week. I got sick last Wednesday and it just kind of went in and out. And it's just kind of lingering now and it's just great. One thing I wanted to talk about, as you could see in right there, I have some Thanksgiving decorations up. And next Thursday is Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving. And something that kind of caught my eye as I was walking into my front room this evening was how many times that we show gratitude for what we have. And sometimes when I'm depressed, it's hard to find something to be grateful for because it's hard. You're depressed. It feels like you have nothing to live for. It feels like the world is crashing down on you. And it can be difficult. And so this season can be really hard for people. Number one, if you get your vitamin D from the sun and you are an outside person, the winter is going to wreak havoc on your emotions. They call it SAD for a reason. It's seasonal. I think it's seasonal affective disorder. I think is what it's called. Seasonal affective depression. I don't remember the exact thing, and somebody's going to correct me. I know, but it is depression that happens in the winter, and the days are shorter, and it's cold, and it's bleak, and it's dreary out. And so this time of year is hard for people. In general, if you are an outdoor person, sometimes this might be a little hard for you. And then if you have lost somebody to suicide, if you yourself struggle with suicidal thoughts and tendencies, this time of year can be hard. There's so many people that are being grateful for things and they have all this joy, and you see on Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and all these places where there's this perfection everywhere, and people aren't real online. Some people are. I'm not saying not everybody is fake. Not at all. I mean, I'm online and I don't always share my messy front room. I don't always share my dishes that aren't done. I don't share my little mound of laundry that still needs to be folded because we don't want to remember that. We don't want to see that. And some people just don't want to admit that that's the way they live. And so for somebody who's struggling to begin with on things to be grateful for, it's hard to see all these perfect people on Instagram and on Facebook and all the other social media apps. And so it can be really hard. And it's hard to find something to be grateful for. And I've been there right after the year my grandmother died, which was in 2013. Her birthday is at the very beginning of November. So, and Halloween is my favorite holiday. I love it. And so for my grandma to be gone, and her birthday is right after my favorite holiday, and then there's Thanksgiving, and then there's Christmas, and there's New Year's. It was really hard, and I remember being really depressed, and it was a really difficult year for everybody who for her grandchildren and her daughters. And I remember trying to find something to be grateful for, finding one thing to be grateful for. Here's my puppy. Here's Loki. Finding one thing to be grateful for. And I remember one morning waking up and just saying, I'm grateful that I have people that love me. I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. And I remember it just kind of snowballed. And I couldn't think of big things, like the things that I could think of now when I'm not depressed. But when I was depressed, I could only come up with like 4 or 5 things. But I was grateful for my husband and my 3 children. I was grateful for my sister and my nephew. I was grateful for my in-laws and all of my nieces and nephews. And I was grateful for my mom and my father-in-law. I was grateful for those, but I couldn't individually pick them. I was grateful for my family. And I'm grateful that I'm not homeless, and I'm grateful that I have food. And that was kind of all I could come up with. And so during this season, not only can it be difficult for people who aren't depressed, but it's going to be really difficult for those who have depression. And if you are finding yourself waking up in the morning and thinking, why am I even here? This is useless. Try to think of one thing you're grateful for. Just one. You'll be able to find it. You'll be able to come up with something. And I promise that if you think of one thing, just one, it will kind of snowball. And even if it doesn't snowball that day, maybe it will the next day, or maybe it will the day after. But every day, just think of one thing you're grateful for. So that's all I have for you for right now. It was just something I really wanted to share with you. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.